At number 10, we have Kate Hudson. Since Kate Hudson was a child, her father hasn't been a part of her life. In 2021, Kate sat down for an interview with Today, and during the interview, she told them that she was no longer speaking to her father due to an issue that started 41 years ago. She went on to state, "I think estrangement is unfortunately quite common, and I think it's important for people to talk about that. If they can't reconnect or if it's too challenging, that's okay, right?" She then went on to add that she has a stepfather who stepped in and played a huge part in showing her what it is to have a dependable father figure, but that didn't take away from the fact that she never knew her real dad. While Kate has chosen to forgive her father, she understands that him not being a part of her life has probably been very painful for him, and he's just going to have to live with that pain. At number 9, we have Heather Graham. Heather was raised by a Catholic family, with her father working in the FBI and her mother being a school teacher. At one point in Heather's life, they threatened to send her off to become a nun so she would behave better. After leaving high school, Heather would eventually stop speaking to her parents, as the star didn't care to dwell on the estrangement. She has declined to talk about her mother and dad as she's worried her words might be misconstrued. In 2013, the actor's mom and dad did allegedly tell The Sun that they never pressured their daughter to become a nun, and they didn't understand the reason between their rift. Up until Heather started the film Boogie Nights, her parents did recall them having a happy and close relationship, and when the film came out, it destroyed their relationship. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera has had a turbulent relationship with her father since she was a child. The singer has openly spoken out about her relationship and her parents and how her father physically and emotionally affected her life as well as her mother's life. Christina has also said that her greatest moment as a child was actually the day her parents got divorced. In 2012, Christina did share that she was willing to put the two differences aside to meet up with her father. However, there's never actually been a report on whether the two did sit down face to face with each other. Christina has also acknowledged that her experience with her father has made her a strong woman she is today, while watching her dad treat her mom wrongfully and made her realize that she never wanted a man to take advantage of her like that, and she was never going to let a man tell her what she could and couldn't do. At number 7, we have Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato is somewhat of an open book, as the star is never scared to shy away from admitting her struggles and experiences. In a video discussing her father and her 2015 album Confident, Demi did admit that she had a lot of mixed feelings when it came to the passing of her father. The star felt very conflicted because her father was known to be pretty mean. However, while he was mean from time to time, he also wanted to be a good person and he wanted to have his family. When her parents divorced and her mom finally did marry her stepdad, he still ended up having a huge heart and would say, "I'm glad that the stepdad was taking care of her, and he's glad that her stepfather was doing the job he could never do." At number 6, we have Adele. Since Adele's father abandoned her mother when she was a child, Adele has had a pretty strained relationship with her father. With the hopes of one day reconnecting, things would soon turn sour after her father spoke about Adele to the British press. The singer would later tell Vogue, "I was actually starting to have a relationship with him and then he effing blew it. He will never hear from me again." However, Adele would later have a change of heart just before her father's passing. After the two met up and they got their peace out, her and her father were finally able to put old things aside, and he was able to become a proper granddad and have the chance to meet Adele's son, Angelo. At number 5, we have Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston became estranged from her mother at a young age after witnessing the dissolution of her parents' marriage. After her parents' divorce, Jennifer's mother would become an emotionally draining figure. Her mother would then go on to say things like, "Honey, take care of yourself better," or "Honey, put your face on." And that's all Jennifer could recall of her mother during her childhood. Eventually, Jennifer and her mom would drift apart. However, after Jennifer matured, she came to the realization that her mom was just trying her best and was simply just trying to be her best. Jennifer realized that her mom was only saying those things because she really loved her. Jennifer understood that the times were also different when her mother was growing up, and her mother just simply missed what was actually important because she was holding on and doing the best she could. At number 4, we have Ariel Winter. Since starring in Modern Family, Ariel quickly rose to fame. However, her on-screen life was definitely clearly nothing like her off-screen life. In an interview with Hollywood Reporter in 2017, Ariel would share details about her life as a young actor and how she entered into the spotlight because of her mom. Ariel would explain that it was more just her mom pushing her to take on roles. However, her mom would also force her to dress in revealing clothing and to follow a strict diet at a young age. When the actor was 14, she would take her mother to court, and her sister Chanel Grey would become her guardian in 2014. By 2015, Ariel would finally be emancipated before turning 18. The actor would then tell Ellen that it was an emotional time for her because it was better for her to be on her own and to have a safer household and support system. At number 3 today, we have Meghan Markle. When Meghan Markle finally joined the royal family, the tabloids constantly started to pursue the actor on everything she did. Sadly, when Meghan was hoping she could run away to her family, they would also take it upon themselves to make regular comments about her and sell stories to the press. Even Meghan's father has been highly outspoken about Meghan, criticizing her from stepping down from her royal duties to even wanting to take legal actions just so he could see Meghan's 2 children. However, Meghan's relationship would really start to strain from her father when he was caught staging photos with the paparazzi before his daughter married Prince Harry. Meghan has urged her family not to discuss her relationships with Harry with the press. She's even said she looks at her own children and she couldn't imagine doing anything intentionally to cause them pain, so that's why it's so hard for her to reconcile with her family. At number 2, Bryce Hall. TikTok star Bryce Hall expressed his desire to become a better person after he got in a bit of trouble with the law after spending a day in prison. It convinced him to become a better person. Bryce has also said that he thought a lot about his father and how he was never around. He knew his father was mean and irresponsible, however he still did want a relationship with him. He would then add that his father spent some time behind bars for not paying child support. As Bryce was spending his time behind the bars waiting to be released, he recalled it made him feel just like his father and that he found the whole experience mortifying and shameful. Bryce has been pretty vocal about how he truly feels about his father and how his mom raised him with love and care, and it helped him become the man he is today. And at number 1 today, we have Brie Larson. Brie Larson has been estranged from her father for years now. In an interview with Elle magazine in 2016, Brie would go on to say that when she legally didn't have to have any visitations with her father anymore, she jumped on it. As a kid, Brie tried to understand her father and the whole situation, however she found that her father wasn't doing himself any favors. She then felt like he never really wanted to be a parent, and that put a lot of strain on their relationship. Back in 2015, her father acted like they were close and that he really supported his daughter after Brie won a Golden Globe for her Best Actress. Her father then went on to say that he was really proud of his daughter and that it was a little surreal, but now it seemed inedible.
Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is Elle King. If you're like me, then this might surprise you because I am a fan of Elle, but I had no idea that these were her parents. Her mom is the model London King and her dad is actor Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider! How did I not know this? Her real name when she was born was Tanner L. Schneider, but she grew up in Ohio with her mom and stepdad. It wasn't until she grew older that she had a strong relationship with her actual dad. She spoke about her experience growing up with famous parents and said, "I got kicked out of school in 8th grade. It was a horrible place, just rich kids being bad. When you grow up in New York with famous parents, you kind of end up running into other kids with famous parents." Not gonna lie, that don't sound all that bad. I wouldn't mind having like rich parents at some rich school and run into other kids with rich parents. That sounds like a blast. Moving on to number 9, we have Ben Stiller. Another one on this list that I didn't realize, and you're probably all gonna make fun of me because I bet you guys realized it. Ben Stiller is a hilarious actor and comedian with a successful career, but so is his dad, Jerry Stiller, who starred on the iconic TV series Seinfeld. Ben credits both of his parents for his career though, his mom as well, and Mira. During an interview, he said, "If my parents were like plumbers, who knows what I would be doing." He's open about the fact that comedy and acting has always been a part of his life since he was a kid, so he knew that it would be the field of work that he just grew into. I feel like that always happens though, or most of the time. Like when your parents grow up in the industry, it's kind of easy to just follow in their footsteps, plus use their connections. Know what I'm saying? Next up at number 8 is Emma Roberts. Many people know her for being related to actress Julia Roberts, who is her aunt, but her dad is famous too. Her dad is actor Eric Roberts, so between her dad and her aunt, she's always been heavily influenced by the industry. But Emma has talked about this fact and says that she's always tried to make decisions for herself despite having a famous connection. She talked about it and said, I think it's important to choose, to make decisions for yourself, and that's part of growing up in my career you have. I think you need to know what you like and what you don't and how you want to build a career. So although she's had some influences in her acting career, she does stand firm that she's made decisions on her own. Sliding into number 7 is Charlie Sheen. His dad, Martin Sheen, has been in the acting industry for many years, first getting recognized for his work in Badlands, The Subject Was Roses, and The West Wing. So it's not surprising that Charlie would take after his father and pursue an acting career. He admits that they didn't always have a strong relationship, but that they grew closer in recent years. When talking about his dad, he said, "We are such better friends than we've ever been. We don't judge each other. It's nothing but fun when we hang out. We don't agree on everything, obviously. I mean, what father and son do. He's a special cat and I'm really lucky to have him." Charlie admitted that after he was diagnosed with HIV, it was one of the things that brought them closer together and helped them create a strong bond. Up next, number 6 is Nicole Richie. When she first broke out into the scene, we just knew her as Paris Hilton's best friend on the TV series The Simple Life. But how exactly did she break out into the industry in the first place? We know Paris comes from a wealthy, well-known family, but Nicole does too. Her dad is the iconic singer Lionel Richie, believe it or not. Nicole admitted her childhood was surrounded by many celebrities, including Michael Jackson. She talked about her childhood and said, "When your father is Lionel Richie, you grow up with some pretty famous people around the house, like Prince and Michael Jackson. From what I remember, it was pretty normal to me. There were a lot of people around is what I remember. There were people in and out of the house pretty much all the time, but now that I'm older and I'm in the business, I get it." That's crazy. Can you imagine just like chilling at home as a kid and Michael Jackson and Prince are coming over? That is so cool. Halfway through the list is Dakota Johnson. The 50 Shades of Grey actress has not only one, but 2 famous parents and a famous grandmother. Her dad is actor Don Johnson, who starred on the TV series Miami Vice and Nash Bridges. And her mom, Melanie Griffith, is known for starring in Body Double and Working Girl. And her grandma is actually Tippi Hedren, who took the lead in the iconic movie The Birds. So between all of them, they have a pretty impressive family resume. Having 3 generations that all have a successful acting career is pretty freaking cool. Dakota has made jokes about her childhood though, saying the worst part about having parents in the film industry is that she had to watch them have with other people on screen. She said she lost her mind and didn't know how to handle it. Not gonna lie, never thought of that aspect. Like, how creepy would that be to watch a movie and it's your mom or your dad and they canoodling with someone else on screen? That'd be so creepy. Even now as an adult, like, that is not what I want to watch. Here now, number 4 is Kelly Osbourne. Just by hearing Osbourne, you already know her entire family basically. Her dad is the frontman of Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, and her mom is the co-host on The Talk, Sharon Osbourne. Kelly was born into fame and admits that she's been famous her whole life because of her parents' reputation. She talked about it and said, "I've been famous since the day I was born within the rock and roll world, and I've been famous since my teens because of the Osbournes. I woke up one day and was one of the most well-known 16-year-olds in the world, and it scared me. It literally happened overnight." The Osbournes was a reality TV show that their family had back in 2002 to 2005 that basically just followed their family around, kind of like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but them. People got to see a more personal side to all of them, and that's when they really fell in love with them. Taking over the 3rd spot is Willow and Jaden Smith. Many people would argue that these two would not have a career if it wasn't for their parents and their family name. Their dad, Will Smith, is one of the biggest actors in Hollywood and has been for many years. And their mom, Jada Smith, also a successful actress, producer, and talk show host. Both Jaden and Willow have turned to the music side of the industry. Willow is a singer and Jaden is a rapper, but Will did get them involved in some acting when they were younger. Willow has always appreciated their position in Hollywood and said, "Growing up, all I saw was my parents trying to be the best people they could be, and people coming to them for wisdom, coming to them for guidance, and them not putting themselves on a pedestal, but literally being face to face with these people and saying, 'I'm no better than you.'" To be honest, I can see them being like that. I get this vibe from Will Smith that he is doesn't doesn't care that he's a celebrity, like doesn't want the fame, and like if you met him, I bet he'd be so down to earth and like on your level. Just a random assumption, but maybe I'll meet him and I'll let you know. Rolling into number 2 is Liv Tyler. If we're being honest, she will probably always be identified as Steven Tyler's daughter. That's what happens when you're the frontman of a band like Aerosmith. Many people thought Liv was going to grow up and be a musician just like her dad. Even she thought that at one point. Liv did an interview back in 1994 when she was 17 years old and said, "I've always liked to sing, and as a little girl I thought I'd be a singer. My mom was a singer too, but I never felt any pressure from my parents. Then acting just happened, and it happened so quickly, so I took advantage." She also revealed that she didn't actually know her dad until she was about 9 years old because she actually grew up in Maine and was raised by her mother. And although she was constantly surrounded by Aerosmith, she claims that she never let herself get caught up in it. In the number 1 spot is the Kardashian sisters. If you don't follow any of the Kardashian sisters, then you would just assume they got famous from the reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians or from Kim's sex tape. But why is their family known in the first place? It was actually because of their dad, who passed away, Robert Kardashian. He was a famous attorney and businessman who gained national recognition as O.J. Simpson's friend and defense attorney during the legendary case back in 1995. After he passed and their lives continued on, the girls were already known for their family name, and their show also included Bruce Jenner, who was an Olympic champion at the time, and it was their stepdad for many years. They all started their own careers based off the fame that they got from that show, but from the family name. Isn't it crazy to think that this all started with an attorney working on a murder case? How crazy is that? Like literally had nothing to do with like Hollywood or beauty or anything. So weird.
Number 10, Ariel Winter. While being a child star on screen can be tricky, the actress's family life off screen has been equally problematic. In recent years, Ariel has been open and honest about the emotional and physical mistreatment that she suffered at the hands of her mother, Crystal Workman. She told The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "My mother would dress me in the smallest miniskirts, sailor suits, low-cut things, the shortest dresses you've ever seen. People thought I was 24 when I was 12. If there was going to be a nude scene when I was that age, my mother would have 1000% said yes." And the result of that treatment was that Ariel was often over-sexualized because of her mother's actions. In addition, Crystal allegedly placed her daughter on strict diets and encouraged partying late at night even when she needed to be on set early the next day. She finally decided to emancipate herself at 14 and went on to live with her sister Chanel until she turned 18. To this day, her mother has only lashed out at Ariel for leaving and has even publicly insulted her fashion choices. I just want to see her have respect for herself and have some class. Ariel is starving for attention. Talk about issues. Number 9, Macaulay Culkin. The actor who rose to fame with the Home Alone movies sued his parents for emancipation and $17 million when he was just 16. In 1997, he claimed that his father, Kid Culkin, mismanaged his earnings and forced him to sleep on the couch. He told Empire last year, quote, "It's always misconstrued that I emancipated myself from my parents." So the former child star became financially separated from his parents as a teenager in the midst of their battle for his custody, where his multi-million-dollar fortune was at stake. Stories circulated that the star sued his parents for $13 million and divorced them as legal guardians to stop them from controlling his future. But Culkin has since spoken up about the emancipation and cleared the air when it comes to what happened. He told Empire in 2020, quote, "I legally took my parents' names off of my trust fund and found an executor, someone who would look over my finances, just in case anyone wanted to stick their effing pinky in the pie. But the next thing you know, the story was that I divorced my parents. I just thought I was doing it cleanly, taking my father's name off, taking my mom's name off. So my opinion is unbiased. And when I did that, the whole thing kinda ended a lot faster." Well, it seems like he definitely made the right decision. Number 8, Rose McGowan. The charmed actress's childhood was anything but normal. In 2011, she revealed that her family was involved with the controversial Children of God cult when she was a child. Basically, it was a free love hippie dream gone horribly wrong that has been blighted by disturbing allegations since it was originally formed in 1968. Unfortunately, Rose and her family were deeply caught up in their web, and it was only when her father learned that the cult's leaders planned to endorse encounters between children and adults that they escaped in order to protect Rose, who was only 9 years old at the time. But the rest of her youth was far from happy as long as she was under her father's roof. So Rose decided to take action. Quote, "I emancipated myself when I was 15. By then I was living in the back of a friend's house in Hollywood and had about 25 cents to my name. So I represented myself in court. I needed to have control of my own life." Although she managed to get away from her parents, it ended up being a challenging time for the actress as she went through a period of homelessness. But looking at how far she's come now, it's clear that escaping her parents eventually led to her monumental success. Number 7. Corey Feldman. The Stand By Me actor was granted emancipation from his parents at age 15, who he claimed had mistreated him as a child and stole nearly $1 million of his fortune. When discussing the predatory side of show business, Feldman told The Hollywood Reporter that his parents did very little to ensure his safety in the industry. In fact, he revealed that one of the men who him as a teenager was actually an employee of his father's, and that his father also coaxed him into trying every single illicit substance that he'd ever done. When speaking of his parents, Feldman called them selfish and said that they were more interested in what was happening with themselves than what was happening in his own life. "My manager father sued me for $40,000 when I tried to get emancipated, his reasoning being that he was taking time away from his business to be on the set with me. So apart from becoming money hungry, his parents also turned a blind eye to the darkness that loomed behind his rise to fame, and as a result, Feldman suffered physical, emotional, and violence at a time when his career seemed to be at its peak." Meghan Markle. The Duchess of Sussex and her father were estranged before her 2018 wedding to Prince Harry, but she reportedly still hoped that he would show up for her big day, which put even more strain on their almost non-existent relationship. Just 2 days before the wedding, Thomas Markle gave an interview to TMZ where he claimed that he decided not to attend Meghan and Harry's wedding in order to avoid causing his daughter any further embarrassment, after admitting to conspiring with a photographer to pose for a series of staged paparazzi photos. The former lighting designer also underwent surgery after having a heart attack the week before the wedding, so his health was also called into question. According to the book Finding Freedom by Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durant, Meghan was humiliated that her father didn't attend her wedding and heard that he backed out of walking her down the aisle. And although she was upset that her father was speaking with tabloids and staging photo ops ahead of her wedding, she still made arrangements to fly him to London so that he could be there for her special day. But ultimately, Meghan became so estranged from her father that they reportedly weren't even in contact when she and Harry welcomed their son Archie in May of 2019. Number 4. Eminem. When we're talking about rocky relationships with parents, none are more well documented in music than Eminem's estranged relationship with his mother. In fact, speaking about her failings as a parent is part of the reason that Debbie Mathers Briggs decided to sue her son in 1999 when he was just 26 years old. Debbie wanted $10 million in damages, and according to Eminem's lawyer, she had been threatening to sue him since the success of his single My Name Is. She also took issue with her son's lyrics about his upbringing, calling them total fabrications. She told MTV News in 2008, quote, "I wasn't happy when he made up a whole new life for himself. What mother wants to be known as a pill-popping alcoholic who lives on welfare? To tell the truth, I was heartbroken. The lies started coming in thick and fast. I think he's forgotten the good times we had." But Eminem's music did have a lot of truth to it, as his mother fell pregnant with him when she was only 18, and his father abandoned him when he was born. From that point on, they struggled financially and moved around a lot. So after having gone through so much hardship together, it's sad that their relationship eventually ended entirely. Number 3. Drew Barrymore. She became a star at the ripe old age of 7 when she played Gertie in 1982's E.T., and she was born into a famous family of actors, so she was truly meant for show business. However, behind the curtain of her star-studded life, there was a lot of darkness. According to The Guardian, Drew Barrymore's father, John, was a raging alcoholic, and her mother, Jade, lacked parental responsibility, and she also acted as Drew's manager and put her to work in show business at only 11 months old. But when her parents divorced, the young actress was left with her mother, who frequently took her out to party at Studio 54, where she was exposed to illicit substances and a lifestyle that was meant for adults. But by the age of 13, Drew had already been in rehab and had been institutionalized. In fact, it was a psychiatric hospital that suggested that she should emancipate herself, as they believed that she would be better off on her own. Drew agreed, cut contact with Jade, and at 14 years old, she was already living by herself. The actress would be estranged from her mother for decades, and recently revealed on Oprah that she was not present at her wedding because they both discussed it beforehand and thought that it would be best. And coming in at number 1, Frances Bean Cobain. In 1992, when Frances was just weeks old, child welfare officers removed her from her parents' home for a short period of time following the publication of a Vanity Fair article that alleged that Courtney had used illicit substances during her pregnancy. The investigation was eventually dismissed and Frances was returned home. 11 years later, Courtney lost custody of her daughter again after being arrested for an attempted break-in at her ex-boyfriend's home. Kurt's mother was appointed as Frances's guardian until Courtney regained custody almost 2 years later following a stint in rehab. Ironically, Courtney herself fought for and won legal emancipation from her own parents while she was still a teenager because she no longer wanted to be associated with her parents Linda Carroll and Hank Harrison. Meanwhile, Frances wanted to file for emancipation from her mother when she was 17, but instead she just got a temporary restraining order against her, and her paternal grandmother and aunt were given custody at the time. Frances went on RuPaul and Michelle Visage's podcast and explained that at the time her mother was a very loud addict. When I stepped away from all those antics, I was looking for the most normal thing I could find, and clearly that was her paternal grandmother at the time.
Coming in at 10, Kiefer Sutherland. Born Kiefer William Frederick Dempsey George Rufus Sutherland, yeah, I'm serious, that's his name, this dude has had an incredibly prolific career, starring in films such as Mirrors, Phone Booth, Stand By Me, and of course, The Lost Boys, one of the greatest films of all time. I think at this point it's common knowledge, but Kiefer Sutherland is the son of Hollywood legend Donald Sutherland, Canada's treasure, therefore my treasure. Donald Sutherland shot to fame through roles in Oedipus the King, MASH, National Lampoon's Animal House, and for the younger viewers out there, The Hunger Games. Sigh. According to a source, the pair didn't get to spend much time together over the years until they worked on Forsaken together. I quote, "It wasn't until the last few days of shooting that I realized this was the most time I've spent with my father." Well, that's just kinda sad, isn't it? Coming in at 9, Emma Roberts. Love her or hate her, Emma Roberts comes from a very prestigious Hollywood family, filled to the brim with shining stars. Now her last name may give it away, but no, we're not talking Julia Roberts, who yes, is her aunt, but let's talk about her father. Emma's father is Hollywood icon Eric Roberts, and if you don't know who that is, I'm shook. His IMDb page credits him as starring in over 500 movies and TV shows throughout his incredibly prolific career, with such projects as The Dark Knight, Runaway Train, The Cable Guy, and of course everyone's favourite, The Human Centipede 3 Final Sequence. Now, although Emma Roberts may have had some help breaking into the industry, she has certainly paved her own way, with roles under her belt like We're the Millers, Scream Queens, Palo Alto, and Scream 4. Regarding her lineage, Emma said, I quote, "I think it's important to choose, to make decisions for yourself, and that's part of growing up in any career you have. I think you need to know what you like and what you don't, and how you want to build a career." Preach. Coming in at 8, Amber Tamblin. I don't know where Amber Tamblin went, but honestly I want to know. For a period of time she was shining in the spotlight, starring in films like The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and The Grudge too. However, she has only made small appearances here and there over the last few years, making a handful of cameos on Inside Amy Schumer, as well as 2.5 Men. We don't speak about that one. I need her back, people. Regardless of her career, Amber Tamblin is the daughter of acclaimed actor Russ Tamblin, who of course starred in films such as West Side Story, The Haunting, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, Drive, and my favourite TV show, Twin Peaks, and much, much more.
Let's talk about Laura.
Okay, let's talk about Laura.
Bobby, what happened the first time that you and Laura made love?
Honestly, this dude was a king in Hollywood back in the day and still makes appearances here and there, the most recent being in The Haunting of Hill House, where he took on the role of Dr. Montague. All I can say is, I need more Russ and I need more Amber. Give it to me now. Coming in at 7, Charlie Sheen. Look, I hate talking about Charlie Sheen, I really do. I don't appreciate his behavior, I don't appreciate his work, but I do appreciate his incredible lineage. Charlie Sheen shot to fame through roles in films such as Red Dawn, Wall Street, and of course the hit TV show 2.5 Men. He is also the son of Hollywood legend Martin Sheen. If you're unfamiliar, shame on you, but this icon starred in films such as The Departed, Apocalypse Now, Badlands, and The Way. Not only did he create one successful son, he created another as well, Emilio Estevez, the best Estevez and the best Sheen, just saying. He starred in hit films such as The Breakfast Club, The Outsiders, and Bobby. Honestly, sorry Charlie, but there's no topping that. I guess this number should have just been about Emilio. I screwed up. Damn it. Coming in at 5, Alexander Skarsgård. The Skarsgård family is filled to the brim with a bunch of talented and beautiful actors, one of them being of course Alexander Skarsgård, who appeared most recently alongside Nicole Kidman in Big Little Lies as her husband. You will also be familiar with Alexander's brother, Bill, who is shot to fame through the role of Pennywise the Dancing Clown in Stephen King's It reboot. And of course, the father of these talented actors, none other than Stellan Skarsgård, an actor with a slew of awards under his belt for roles in films such as Good Will Hunting, Dogville, Exorcist: The Beginning, and of course, Chernobyl. It must be incredible to be a household name in a family of household names. Alexander was once interviewed about his famous dad way back when, stating, "He was a great dad when I was growing up, but it was tough because I didn't get to see him much. He worked 16-hour days, 6 to 7 days a week. I would go to the theater and hang out backstage to see dad basically." Sad times. Coming at 4, Bryce Dallas Howard. I love Bryce Dallas Howard, the Golden Globe nominated actress who starred in films such as The Help, Jurassic World, 50-50, Hereafter, The Village, and Spider-Man 3, but we don't talk about that one. I don't blame her, I blame Tobey Maguire. However, this Hollywood icon was famous before she was even born, because her father, Ron Howard. That's right, this actress is the daughter of Hollywood royalty. Ron Howard, for those who don't know, is an actor turned director, and a 2-time Oscar winner for the critically acclaimed film A Beautiful Mind. He also directed Willow, Far and Away, Apollo 13, Cinderella Man, and The Da Vinci Code. He is a legend and one of my favourite directors of all time. Even though most believe his films to be Oscar baity, I don't care. He's great, and so is Bryce, and I will support them until the end of time. Okay. Bye. Coming in at 3, Colin Hanks. Now this one stumped me, and not for the reasons you would expect. Yes, I knew Colin Hanks was related to Tom Hanks, however, I spent years believing they were brothers. Rookie mistake. I did fail maths, so it all makes sense. Yeah, that's right, Colin Hanks is the son of Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. Now it would be silly for me to explain the works of Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, because at this point we all know. Well, for those not in the know, Tom Hanks has won 2 Academy Awards for Forrest Gump and Philadelphia. He is an absolute legend. His son, Colin Hanks, is famous for starring in films such as King Kong, Untraceable, and The House Bunny, a guilty pleasure, and has paved such a successful career for himself that it's easy to forget who his parents are. However, it is worth noting that Colin Hanks was born to Samantha Luz, who sadly passed away on March 12, 2002. Coming in at 2, Gwyneth Paltrow. I think it's safe to say we all feel the same way about Gwyneth Paltrow, just ever so slightly irritated anytime we see her pop up on the screen. To be honest, I blame her weird company Goop. There's something weird going on there. It's the eggs. Anyway, I digress. Gwyneth is an Oscar-winning actress. Yeah, you heard me. Oscar-winning actress. For what, you might ask? Shakespeare in Love. A highly overrated film, but I get it. People love it. I understand. Honestly, I don't know why I'm hating on everyone so hard. I'm going through something, I think. Existential dread. Anyway, Gwyneth Paltrow has starred in some incredible films such as Sliding Doors, Seven, Emma, and The Royal Tenenbaums, arguably one of Wes Anderson's best films of all time. But this isn't about US. What a lot of people don't know is that Gwyneth is the daughter of Blythe Danner, a Hollywood icon known for her roles in Meet the Parents, Paul, and I'll See You in My Dreams. Blythe also has another child, Jake Paltrow, who is also in the industry, but as a director. This family is stacked. And finally, coming in at number 1, Angelina Jolie. Oh, how I miss Angie. I know she's still around, I just generally miss her when I'm not in the process of watching her in a film. Angelina, of course, hit the scene back in 1995 when she starred in Hackers, before she went on to star in hit films like Gia, The Bone Collector, Girl Interrupted, and one of my many guilty pleasures, Gone in 60 Seconds. Did you know though that Angie is the daughter of Hollywood icon Jon Voight? Now they are known to have an incredibly tumultuous relationship, with the pair not speaking to each other for many years. I quote, "My father and I don't speak. I don't believe that somebody's family becomes their blood, because my son's adopted and families are earned." Preach, Angie. Jon Voight is of course famous for starring in Anaconda, Midnight Cowboy, and my personal favourite, Deliverance. He's an incredibly talented actor, although there are constantly rumours about his on and off screen behaviour, which sums up why himself and Angie don't particularly get along.
At number 10, we have Miley Cyrus. In the wake of her parents' bitter divorce, Miley Cyrus has completely shut out her dad. After Miley's mom Tish filed for papers back in April to end the 20-year marriage to Billy Ray Cyrus, a bitter family feud would explode and it would be displayed among the tabloids. And with it, Miley would finally cut off old ties she had with her father. Miley is simply done with her father, and it has even been said that she's always felt like her father was trying to cash in on her fame, dating back to the days when she played Hannah Montana. Miley believes the only one who ever truly looked out for her was her own mother, and that this huge rift may never heal. To add more fuel to the fire, Billy Ray Cyrus is apparently now engaged to singer Fire Rose, who he met while he was working on the set of Hannah Montana. Now, Miley definitely knows something none of us know, and it's leading to her resentment of her father. Many of Miley's friends have described the star of being incredibly stressed and feared that the wild child might just fall off her wagon again. At number 6, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan's relationship with her father Michael is rocky at best, and the two often go years without speaking to each other. Lindsay's rocky relationship with her father dates all the way back to when the actor was a child, when Michael began to struggle with substances. Lindsay has once even said that her father put herself and her family through hell following a stint of verbal altercations. In 2012, Lindsay would call her father following an argument with her mom, and her dad would later sell this phone call to the press, which would result in Lindsay to fully cut off her dad by 2016 after she became so fed up with her father spreading rumors about her in the tabloids. I mean, considering her father also posted her number online for everybody to see, I don't blame the star's decision to keep her father out of her life from time to time. At number 4, Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie's estrangement from her father, Papa John Voight, was finally finalized in 2002 when she legally dropped Voight from her last name. Angelina ultimately decided to petition her last name to be changed just a month before her father's interview with Access Hollywood. During the interview, he would go on to complain that she hadn't let him see his grandchild, and he pleaded for her to get help for specific mental problems. Angelina, who co-starred in the movie Tomb Raider with her father, would respond in the statement by saying, "I don't want to make public the reason for my bad relationship with my father. After all these years, I have determined that it's not healthy for me to be around my father, especially now that I'm responsible for my own child." And number 3, Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan hasn't seen his mom for 21 years. For years, Tracy's mom and sister have been bad-mouthing him to the media for refusing to help save his mother's home from foreclosure. Tracy became extremely saddened by the untrue stories, and he began to grow tired of people questioning his commitment to his family. In an interview with ABC News, Tracy went on to state that the reasons they aren't talking are between them, and that he hasn't seen his mother in 11 years outside of a random call here and there, and he's had little to no contact with his sister. Tracy was also helping his mother pay for the mortgage after she lost her job. However, after his mom and sister started talking to the media, Tracy would ultimately change his mind.
Up next, number 9 is Brody Jenner. Most people came to know him from the reality TV series The Hills, but some people also got to know him from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. He would appear in some of their episodes because he's actually half siblings with Kylie and Kendall Jenner. If you're piecing this together in your head right now, yes, Brody's dad is Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner. A lot of people didn't know that Bruce at that time had other children while filming Keeping Up with the Kardashians, until they just started to appear in some of the episodes. Brody was also in the recent reboot of The Hills, where he talked about his relationship with his dad and how he feels about his transition into Caitlyn. He admitted that of course it was a weird adjustment at first, but that he supports her and is happy she's able to be who she always wanted to be. That'd be a hard adjustment, let me tell you. Especially because he was like a world athlete, and I feel like growing up you're probably like throwing balls with him, and it would just be such a hard transition. Sliding to number 8 is Liza Minnelli. She's a very successful actress and singer who has had a long career in Hollywood despite not having her mom around for some of it. She has won Academy Awards for some of her acting performances and is known for her energetic and powerful performances while singing. Some would say that her talents came from her iconic mother, Judy Garland, Sutherland, who became known for taking on the legendary character of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. The amount of talent between the two of them is like insane. Sadly, Liza lost her mom in 1969 after she died of an accidental drug overdose at the age of 47. Her story has gone down in history though for her struggles with a substance and alcohol addiction and how she was actually abused by people in the industry while filming The Wizard of Oz. It's caused a lot of controversy. Pretty crazy. Making her way into number 7 is Tallulah Willis. The actress became known for her work on The Scarlet Letter, Bandits, and The Whole 10 Yards. And she recently launched her own clothing line inspired by mental health. She's always been very open with her fans about her struggles with OCD, anxiety, and depression. I personally became known of who she is and her famous parents after she appeared on the MTV series Catfish. She appeared in multiple episodes as a guest host and explained that she is the daughter to Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. She now has a close relationship to both of them, despite the fact that they did split up, but there was a point she said where she actually didn't talk to her mom for 3 years. Luckily, they were able to reconnect and they are closer than ever now. How do you not talk to your mom for 3 years? That's crazy. I'd be like a brand new by the time I talk to my mom again. She wouldn't even recognize me. Number 5 is Laura Dern. She first received international recognition when she starred in Steven Spielberg's classic Jurassic Park back in 1993. From there, she went on to build a wildly successful career with both Golden Globes and Academy Awards under her belt. In more recent years, she is known for starring on the TV series Big Little Lies and the movie Little Women. Laura brought her mom, Diane Ladd, to the 2020 Oscars and people were freaking out to see them on the red carpet together. Some even saying that they didn't realize they were even related. Both of her parents are famous actors, her dad also being Bruce Dern. She talked about her parents' fame with Variety and admitted that they didn't want her to become an actor and that her mom actually discouraged her because she was worried for her, just knowing how hard the industry could be. But she went on to become an actor anyway, and here we are. Cruising into number 4, we have Ashley Judd. Not only is she known for her acting, but she's also known for being a political activist. Her acting career wouldn't be surprising for the people that know she is the daughter of Naomi Judd, the country music singer. She talked about her childhood and how she's grown up in a family of performing artists, so the industry was just something that she was always intrigued by. Her acting career has spanned for more than 3 decades now, and not many people piece together that her mom is Naomi because she isn't involved in the music part of the industry like her mom is. I had no idea, just saying. Taking over the 3rd spot is Drew Barrymore. She became a star at the age of 7 after starring in Steven Spielberg's movie E.T. But at that point, she'd actually already been working for 6 years. She actually landed her first job in a dog food commercial at just 11 months old. Maybe you're wondering why on earth her parents would submit her to jobs at such a young age, but that is because they were both in show business as well. Her dad is John Barrymore and her mom is Jade Barrymore. Her parents were both famous actors, but her mom went on to actually become her manager. Her dad was just carrying on the family business, working in film and TV. His father, Drew's grandfather, was the most acclaimed Hamlet of his generation. And on top of that, her great-grandfather, Maurice Barrymore, was starring in silent movies back in the 1800s. So her family has an entire lifeline in the acting industry, like literally from start to finish. Now I'm like, I just have no chance. You know what I mean? Literally. I'm like, I didn't realize everyone had like some kind of connection. Meh. Taking over 2nd place is Billie Lourd. This is another family tree filled with tons of talent. The actress is known for her performances on the series Scream Queens and American Horror Story. It makes sense that she would be a talented actress because her mom is Carrie Fisher and her dad Brian Lord. I mean, how cool would it be to say that your mom was Princess Leia in Star Wars? That's unreal. After her mom passed away, they actually used Billie in the final movie to help develop Princess Leia's CGI, which is really freaking cool. On top of her parents being well known in Hollywood, her grandma is too. Her grandma is Debbie Reynolds, the famous actress and singer who starred in Singing in the Rain. Billie has talked about her famous family and said, "I've always kind of lived in their shadows and now is the first time in my life when I get to stand on my own. I love being my mother's daughter and it's something I always will be, but now I just get to be Billie." That's a frickin' sweet setup in Hollywood, let me tell ya. In the number 1 spot is Zoe Kravitz. The actress, singer, and model has a pretty sweet setup when it comes to her home life. She is the daughter to the iconic musician Lenny Kravitz and the iconic actress Lisa Bonet. That in itself would be the coolest thing ever, but she also has a famous stepdad. After her parents got divorced in 1993 when she was just 5 years old, Lisa went on to marry actor Jason Momoa years down the road. So Zoe has 3 very successful parents in the industry, which we can imagine would be very helpful for her career. And also really freaking sweet.